Last week we talked about Batman, and I became Batman, or a bat-ish like thing, a non-proprietary bat-ish like thing, which you can see behind me. In any case, we used it to talk about combos. It did some pretty sweet combos, as you can see, and we wanted to see what you all had to say. Let's find out. Many of you, such as Zappandy, made a pretty compelling case that Batman is, in your words, a modern combo-heavy brawler, but at the entry level, and that the fighting system is far deeper in a game like Bayonetta. Showbot22, for example, brings up how in Batman, this allowed them to play through it while executing the same combos time and time again. So to that I would say, well, complexity isn't always the most important thing. Sometimes it can be really powerful to have a very simple, repeatable idea rather than giving people, an infinite number of options. Also, compared to fighting people in the real world, then I guess Batman is far less complex. But your point is that there are other games that have richer, deeper combo systems. But you have to remember, one of the main points in the episode was that the combo system is part of this larger landscape of things that you can do in the game. So combined with other bat accessories, they all together in aggregate do this really compelling thing where they give you agency and make you feel like Batman. And that's the game's greatest virtue, I think. Compared to Bayonetta, I don't know. I feel like people don't have the same kind of at least nostalgic attachment to a character like Bayonetta because she's pretty new, and at least, for the sake of PBS's censors, I'm probably not going to be dressing up like Bayonetta anytime soon. Karim El Hayawan brings up a counterpoint to the Batman combat naysayers and says that there's a couple additional reasons for its greatness that I actually didn't touch upon. One is that you can cancel out of your animation so that if you're throwing a punch and then someone attacks you from behind, you can break out of that animation and deal with the more imminent threat. I guess that's more like a relative thing for Batman since his life is always being threatened. But nonetheless, this is super pivotal to great beat 'em ups. This person also mentioned how Batman was originally built on top of a prototype for a rhythm game that Rocksteady was already experimenting with, which is something I did not know, and it does speak to this really interesting part of the game design process, which is that designers often sort of figure out what the interactions are going to be first before they know what the narrative context of those interactions is actually going to be. It's something I didn't know, but it certainly explains why the combat feels so fluid. Sonic Psycho 13 echoes Kareem's statement, saying that the rhythm of the combat in Batman feels like Dance Dance Revolution, aka DDR, for the real hardcore kids. I think everybody calls it DDR. Nonetheless, we haven't done a DDR episode yet, so maybe we should look into it. Cheshire Swift says perspective wasn't discovered in the Renaissance, and it's true that there are some instances in pre-Renaissance art which use vanishing points and techniques like foreshortening to make things in the distance seem further away. But for all practical purposes, geometrical perspective wasn't formalized until Bruno Shelley discovered it in the 1400s in Florence. So that's what I was talking about. So perspective. Time Warp Trio 11, I guess it's 3 people. Let's just go with just 3 people who've left a single comment. Anyway, this triplet of people finds that it's mysterious why only 1 or 2 henchmen attack Batman, even though their screen is full of them. It seemed to make the most sense for all of them to attack Batman simultaneously, and that's something I thought about as well. So we actually came across the answer to this while researching the episode, but it didn't make it in. So this abnormality is actually a necessity for the combat system. So Batman can prioritize which enemy he's going to attack without the animations going totally nutso. So basically the engine hands out tickets to each individual enemy, like they're at the deli counter, and only the ones holding the ticket are allowed to attack and allow Batman to just beat them within an inch of their life. So it's not a very lucky ticket. In any case, as technology advances, we're likely to see more enemies joining in, so that maybe that's the next step in the evolution of the beat 'em up. Is going to be like, that scene where Neo from the Matrix is fighting all these dudes at the same time, but we're not quite there yet.